Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Dream Car Garage. Now, we're extremely excited today because we have for you, just behind me, something that in the automotive industry has been considered for many years to be simply a myth. What we have today is one of the very few remaining invisible cars. So, without further ado, I'm just going to walk around it, let you have a see. It's called the ultimate urban camouflage vehicle. It's in a setting so you should be able to see it. So I'm going to walk around it and talk you through it, and then ultimately we'll take it for a drive. So here it is right here. As you can see, it's even in anti-camouflage mode, it's still quite a decent looking car. I'm going to walk around the side. Yeah, it's a lovely car. What's just amazing is the technology behind that Mazda who created this particular car. You know, just to be able to, the foresight to be able to think of a car which is, well, basically, I can't believe what I'm seeing here. Really, it's an invisible car. I know it's here because I parked it here earlier on, and I can feel it. Yeah, I can feel it's here. The bonnet's here. It goes up like that and comes down. Wait a minute. Sorry, I'm just checking and. Actually, I don't think you can see it because it's still in camouflage mode. Sorry, I'll just sort that out. Okay, I've just pressed the anti-camouflage button, so you should be able to see the car okay now. Okay, sorry about that. I think it was in anti-camouflage mode, that's why I couldn't see it. Okay, so clearly what we have now is the Mazda 626. The amazing thing about this particular car design is that even in its anti-camouflage mode, I mean you should be able to physically see it now, the camera should pick this up, it's still a relatively innocuous looking car. It's sort of it's not really noticeable. If it wasn't for the fact this one's in bright red, which might catch your eye a little bit more, it's the kind of car you see and don't see, which was really kind of what Mazda was going for. So even without it being in full camouflage mode, it's not the kind of car that's going to get you noticed. Okay, we're inside now, and once inside, I'm not bedazzled by an array of fancy binnacles and flash dials. Everything's quite straightforward, but it's nice. The plastics are decent quality. The material, although not flamboyant looking, there is an air of quality here, and that's proved out by the fact that the car's 14 years old and it's worn extremely well. Well, that could be partly down to the fact that it's not been used much, but even so, the interior is worn very well. It looks like new. Dashboard plastics, they resisted scratching very well. The steering wheel's got a nice feel, and comfortable. And it's, you know, despite what you might think, it's a quite pleasant place to be. I'm going to turn the engine on now. Now this is an extremely quiet engine. I mean, few things say quality to me more than a quiet engine, and this is a nice quiet engine. It's purring away in the distance, so straight away I know I'm not in a little cheap product. I can see where Mazda put their money. It's not flamboyant, but there's a real feeling of substance here. What we're going to do now, we're going to take it for a drive. It's not overly impressed me in terms of how it looks, but as I sit in it and start to feel the various things around the cabin, turn the engine on, it's purring away nice and quiet. I think, oh, okay, this car's got something. Well, let's take it for a bit of a spin and see what it's got. Now the roads we're going down first are some narrow country lanes. The surface is not particularly smooth, but the car's dealing with this very well indeed. It's got a very nice ride, quite quiet, well, very quiet actually. Very smooth feeling engine. Now this engine is a 2 litre, develops only 115 bhp, but it feels nice. That kind of power feels adequate. You wouldn't have thought 115 bhp with not much more torque than that, I don't think. But it's not a rocket ship, but it picks up nicely. It's already we're at 40, 45. We're cruising quietly. So far, so nice. The engine accelerates keenly, and even under duress it still sounds quite smooth. That could be partly down to the actual smoothness of the engine, which I'm hearing a little bit, but also down to the fact that I think it's very well sound insulated. One thing that's impressed me straight away is the gear change. An extremely nice gear change. Falls in easily, no click or clunk, it's just smooth. Very nice indeed. This is a very pleasant car to drive. This is a fantastic handling car. I mean, we shouldn't really be surprised because it's the same make Mazda that also gave us the MX-5, which is the best-selling convertible car in the world ever. So the fact that it's managing to deliver some decent performance down these roads shouldn't really surprise us, but I mean, this is fantastic. I'm going along at 60 miles an hour. The engine's still quite smooth. The gear change is nice. I see a bend, and the car flows around these bends beautifully. Beautiful. I mean, I'm not going to exaggerate. It's not a race car, so it's not sprung really hard, but that's part of the beauty of it. I'm enjoying driving and going around bends at a decent rate. I don't need to have a G-force measure in it, but it's enjoyable to drive. You want to go around the bends and go around the bends. It's not a fighting experience. It flows around the bends beautifully. Now, I've had the privilege of having this car for a couple of weeks now, and I've driven it up and down the place, and it is a very enjoyable car to drive. I mean, I went to church last Sabbath, and I pulled up and went inside and came out, and my friends had never seen me in this vehicle before. Gave them a lift and everything else, and for the full duration of the time they didn't make a single comment about the car. Not about the way it looked, not about the way it was inside, not about the way it drove. It was just invisible to them, which is amazing. I didn't want it to be visible, but it's just interesting that they'd never seen me in this car before, and Sabbath had finished and we're just going out for the evening, and they'd never seen this car before, and it was completely invisible to them. They didn't ask about it, I took them for a drive, we went somewhere and we just got chatting, but there was no comment about the car whatsoever. Not nice, not nice, not coarse, not harsh, nothing. And it's amazing because they just got in and it was as if they were being carried along by nothing. But this is it's a really genuinely enjoyable car to drive. It changes gear well, it rides beautifully, it takes the corners very well, well sound insulated. The steering wheel feels nice and I don't think it's leather, but it feels like leather. Plastics are good. It's got a decent stereo system. This is an extremely nice car. Now, what for me sweetens the beauty of this particular car is the fact that it costs less than £1,000. It's got 65,000 miles on the clock. It's been owned by an elderly gentleman for the last 10 years. It's got full service history, including the cam belt change, and all this for about £800. I mean, that's an awful lot of very good car for not an awful lot of money. So, the Mazda 626, the invisible car. Well, it may be invisible to most people. I mean, if you're looking to be noticed, this isn't the kind of car for you, to be honest with you. If you are looking to people to turn around and rate the kind of car and get props from that, this isn't the kind of car. However, if you appreciate real quality, you don't mind the anonymity, you want a car that's reasonably quick, more brisk than quick, relatively economical, smooth, enjoyable to drive, wonderfully handling, and unbelievably reliable, one of the most reliable cars you could buy, then this is the kind of car for you. If you add to that the caveat of the cherry on the cake, with it being the fact that it's only about 800 maybe to £1,000 should buy you one in this kind of condition, that's a real bargain in my view. So Mazda 626, dubbed the invisible car. Well, I'll change that title. I'm going to say this is substance over style. But for now, the Mazda 626, the invisible car, substance over style, marks out of 10. And bearing in mind all the things it does, its reliability, its smoothness, its pleasure to drive, counter that slightly against the fact that it doesn't look that exciting. And I know for a lot of people that's a big deal. I'm going to say this car has to be at least a 7.5, maybe 8 out of 10. If it looked amazing, then it'd easily be a 10 out of 10 because it drives really well. But I'm going to knock a few points off because some people are quite style conscious. So for me, my dream car garage verdict is 7.5, maybe 8 out of 10. So, thanks for joining us for this show. And remember, don't just dream it, drive it.